Hey everybody, this is Cyrus. Welcome back to Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics. I'm a supernatural researcher and author here talking about complex metaphysical subjects and what happens when you kick the bucket. So if you like that kind of thing, please give me a hand, hit subscribe, help these videos become a little bit more recognized. So tonight rather, I have to get used to daylight savings. It becomes dark at like 4 o'clock now. I can't get used to that. I'm talking about what I call the secret of lucid dreaming. So this is something that kind of explains the bizarre nature of dreaming and why dreams seem to have elements that feel real and also elements that are nonsensical, and why it's all kind of meshed together. So many people confuse the state known as astral projection and having a lucid dream. So a lucid dream is essentially entering into a subjective sphere. It's entirely your subconscious mind operating internally. So this is why in a lucid dream you can control and shape the environment however you want. And in that lucid dream, you have a direct connection with your subconscious, which is kind of the clinical way to describe your higher self, which is creating this whole kind of mini universe, which I think everybody has the capability of creating like a little universe within themselves. Astral projection occurs while the physical body is either in a deep meditation or asleep, but your consciousness has now shifted to a literal other realm with real people and a real environment. You know you're astral projecting because it may feel a bit like a lucid dream in the sense that you're having a real lucid experience, but it's a environment where you don't have the full control, and that the people you speak to are real people, and you can feel that they're real people. And they may even make comments like, hey, Fred, check it out. This guy's astral projecting. So people are aware that you are visiting their side, and it becomes abundantly obvious. Now, what gets confusing is that there's this kind of gray line between these two states. And all the time, people have lucid dreams, and they think, well, if there's these other realms, it's a bunch of nonsense. You dream that your cousin's been captured by Donkey Kong, and you have to hop over barrels to rescue her. It's like this stuff is being cooked up in your brain, and there's no way that you could apply like a supernatural type of explanation behind that. There isn't a literal other realm where Donkey Kong is real and then your cousin was captured. Like, this stuff is entirely subjective. These are not real things that are really happening, and you'd look really silly if you were to imply that your crazy dreams had significance. Where a dream does have significance is in symbolism. It's in the connection to your higher self. Some authors recommend that you take advantage of the lucid dream state to send a message to your subconscious higher self. You could tell Donkey Kong in that dream, please tell my higher self to help me quit smoking. And you may find that it's like you've just sent a message up to the top of the building, up to corporate headquarters, where the seat of your identity lies, and you've delivered a message, hey, please help me quit smoking. So that's one benefit of being in that dream state. But how do we make sense of dreaming? Why is it so nonsensical, and how come a dream can have little pieces of an astral experience? How come an astral experience can bleed into becoming dreamlike? How come we can have a dream where it feels like maybe we're connecting with like a deceased loved one, but then it spirals into dream nonsense? Well, the big secret is kind of revealed in this quote by Seth from the Seth Speaks books. And so I had a member of the Afterlife Topics group bring this to my attention earlier, so that's why I wanted to make this video. And this is kind of what said paraphrased, which is, when we enter deep sleep, our soul does work, or is visiting in the spirit realm, where it learns lessons or interacts with others. It is when we come back into REM sleep that our minds try to make sense of this other dimension, which is not possible. So it interprets it with symbolic images based on its recent memories. So for example, if you interact with a fatherly spirit, maybe your mind replaces it with your father or co-workers in the original post. So this is me referencing, you may see co-workers, friends, relatives being swapped out for what could be real people, but your brain is just filling in the blanks. So it does this to make sense of what it's seeing, and so that's what you remember in the morning. And so let me break that down, because this is a little complicated. Basically what it means is that if you're having real experiences in other dimensions, if you're having astral projection experiences, by the time you come back into your body, your brain has to interpret what it just experienced. The problem is that your brain only has the information within its hard drive to be able to work with. So it's not able to bring in outside information back into the brain, because you're operating on a different whole dimension. And let me figure out a way to explain this concept so it makes sense, because this is pretty complex stuff. Let's say you have a real astral experience, and you are in an astral. Let me think. You're having a party. You're at a party in like a hotel. I think I've used this example before in other videos, so just bear with me. You're at a party in a hotel, and you meet, as Seth describes here, a fatherly figure. An old guy with a beard, reminds you of grandpa. It's not grandpa. But your brain has to approximate the closest thing to that memory based on what's already in the database, what's already in the hard drive. It doesn't have any real information about the person you just met. So your brain cycles through all your memories to attempt to place an approximation on that experience. And so all of a sudden, this old guy you met with a beard, this old wise man, becomes grandpa, even though it's not grandpa. And so this is where people can have really disjointed experiences. They may think that they had a dream about grandpa who passed away, but really they had a dream about somebody else that they had an experience with on the astral dimension. But what's happening is that the information is going through this big computer inside our heads, and it's being processed, and sometimes the information becomes inaccurate or gets corrupted. So by this account, the big secret of lucid dreaming is that probably every single dream you have is an element of a real experience happening on what we call the astral plane, except it's being interpreted through existing memories inside your brain to kind of fill in the blanks about what it's seeing and what it's experiencing. So sometimes you'll get the unadulterated memory if your brain doesn't get confused by it. If your brain has, if the experience is familiar enough to what's already in the hard drive that it doesn't have to begin making approximations. And keep in mind that this is happening because the brain, the physical brain, is not able to form memories while on that side, because on that side you're in a different body. You're in your astral ethereal body. You're not actually using this brain. All the brain that you have is doing is receiving like a trickle of information from that side, but it's not recording the information because you're back in this body. You're not in that body. If you were in that body, you'd have full access to all the unadulterated memories. So when you have a dream, and this is the kicker, before I cut this video off, this is what I want you to remember. If you have any kind of dream, in addition to thinking about the symbolism behind the dream, which is the stuff that your subconscious creates, think about what the actual experience on the other side may have been. So if you dream about Donkey Kong, what is that an approximation of? On the other side, did you encounter like a gorilla? Um, did somebody throw a barrel at you and this is all your brain came up with? You can break a dream down and imagine what may have been the actual unadulterated experience. And that's how you can remember having like astral experiences, even if you're not good at astral projection. If you can learn to decode a dream and figure out what the real experience may have been. On the flip side, people who are very talented at astral projection, they're able to pull back memories and exist on that side in such a way that they bypass this entire thing and they get the full experience. They meet people fully. They return with information that they didn't have previously because they have like synchronized their physical brain and existence on that side so perfectly. And I've had a few of these experiences in my day, but there's some people out there that can do it like this all the time. And that's what true astral projection is that it's an unadulterated experience on the other side. A lot to take in, I know, pretty crazy stuff, but I came to this conclusion independently of the Seth book that I never fully read. And so I think that's interesting because it's like the same idea that I've been circulating, but it's being verified elsewhere. This is Cyrus. If you like this, again, please hit subscribe. You can get involved in the links below if you click show more. I've got a couple of books out there: Understanding Life After Death, the Afterlife and Beyond. And I have my website, Afterlife Topics. I also run classes twice a week at Afterlife University. You can find the link down below as well if you're into that kind of thing. And thanks for coming here. Thanks for listening to me. And I'll talk to you next time.